Alright guys, so today I'm going to show you a little bit, ignore my comic book stuff here. I'm going to show you how to create blend shapes and using them in Maya, and how to isolate your blend shapes. So if you don't want a particular area having blend shapes or be affected by it. My guy has a separated head in this particular case. A lot of times if you have your character one whole model, you'll have to do it on the whole body. And you'll do a blend shape on the whole body, like you'll select the body, and then you'll shift select you'll select the expression, and you'll shift select the original body, and you'll run the blend shape. The only problem is you don't want it affecting every part of the blend shape, or every part of the original model. And I'll show you how to do that, how to isolate it so it doesn't affect every part of your original model. Now I have several different expressions here. I did these guys in Mudbox. I went in here and tweaked out different expressions. I tried to get a little anime feel from him. Ignored his strange inner palette. That actually got changed from what I can remember. So this is my little Mohawk cyberpunk dude. And what we're going to do is we're going to create some blend shapes based on this guy. Now originally he was modeled after my head, but I made him a little bit more cartoony with exaggerated jaw, smaller nose, larger eyes, and so forth. So my original model is going to be, let me see where my target one is at. Should be, this is my head down one. Let me move him into place. Oh, that's right, he's still got a lattice on him. My bad. So what you can do, let me point this real quick. What you can do is when you're deforming, there we go. When you're deforming your models, you can actually use lattices to tweak them out also. So I got a lattice in here, and I forced my guy to have a little bit more of a head tilt. This was just quicker for me instead of painting weights in this particular case, because it's just the isolated head. It has multiple cybernetic parts. And you can actually go in here too and tweak out your lattices to get different expressions. So what I did here was I went and grabbed some parts of his eyes, and I made him frown by pulling the lattices down. And then from there, when you get what you want, you just grab the model, Control D, duplicate it, and carry it over. And now you have a new expression. And you can keep these guys around whenever you need them. So you see I have all these different expressions here. Let's find my target model. I believe this guy's good to go. We can run a quick check. It's been a while since I've opened this file to make sure he's working. And we're going to run these expressions and run them directly into this head. Alright, so to do so, what we're going to do is I'm going to select each one of these expressions starting out. And then I'm going to shift select the original model. Now, I'm going to hit the space bar. I'm going to go create deformers. I'm going to go to blend shapes and open this up. And we'll call this expressions. But the one thing you want to do when you create your blend shapes, you want to make sure you also name each one of these guys. So let's name them really quick before I hit apply. So we have smirk, we have shock, they're already named, but I'm pointing this out real quick here. We have laugh, sad, and we have one brow. All those are good to go. So with them all set up, and it looks like they already have the blend shape set up, I took them from my animation file. But we're going to create it here. We're going to select each one of these guys all at one time. I'm going to grab all of them. And then we're going to shift select the original model. And we're going to hit create. Oh, see, yeah, that's not my original head there. So we'll choose the other model. We're going to move this over. And we'll grab the original expression here. We got a frown one too. This is when he's angry. Angry punker. What a jerk. And we'll just grab this guy. He looks like he's in a neutral state. Let's see if he works. So again, you'll grab all the expressions. Shift select the model you want to send it to. There you go, and it works. So what I did was I grabbed each one of these guys and sent them to this guy. You want to grab the deformed model first, and I can turn off my display, heads-up display. Polycount. And then you want to grab the original model. Now what should occur, let's go to our Windows animation editors, ignore my phone. It's telling me that my Clash of Clans is ready to go. Oops, wrong one. Windows animation editors. There we go. Blend shape. Pop that up. And we'll see each one of my expressions here. And the nice thing about this, I can run the expression. Now look at this original guy here. The nice thing about having all your expressions all at once is you can blend them a little bit better. I can add 2 expressions all at once, which is kind of cool. He's sad, or he's got a little smirk, or he thinks, hey, yeah, I think you're lying to me. And there we go, we have another one where he's like concentrating right there. And notice how I modeled my character. I made it so my edges flow really nicely. In games, a lot of times you can use triangles for extra deformations, but I did a irregular quad. I probably could have brought it back here. But this allows me to have a little bit better brow deformations. And again, you can mix these up, which are really fun sometimes to do. You get some unusual things going on. And notice I have very exaggerated expressions. And a lot of times make it a little more exaggerated than normal can be beneficial. So, because if you need it, you won't have to go back and do it again. Alright, so we got this guy all set up and ready to go. But what we want to do, what I want to point out to you is how you can edit this guy. Now say you did put this on a large model as in a T-pose, and you want to be able to isolate a region, or you don't want it to mess with the whole head or the whole body, or you just want a particular expression not to be affected by one area on the face. All you need to do is, let's switch to animation so you can see this a little bit better. We're going to edit deformers and edit membership tool. And what I'm going to do is select the blend shape, the one that has the expression, and it'll show me on the original model what's being affected. So I can go in here and I can change whatever it is that I need. And we'll go to another one. Where's that one? We're actually using this one here. And we can hit Control, select, and it'll actually remove that expression. So you'll notice, let's say we want that expression except the eyes. We don't want the eyes or the mohawk to be affected. I hit Control, select, and there we go. Now we have a new expression, but the eyes are the same. Notice it's getting a little weird here since it's crashing into each other. But you can see that's one way you can edit your membership or edit your expressions on your model. Another way you can do it, now this one isn't as stable in 2013, but I'm going to mention it to you anyway. Some of you guys might get it to work, but you can paint your blend shapes. So you blend shape weight tool. It does have a problem sometimes when you do it all at once, but let's see if it'll work for us. And we'll paint blend shapes. And you can, once you click on that, double click on your tool for it, and you can pull up which blend shape you want to paint for. Now you'll notice it's affecting the whole thing. So if you want, you could run your blend shape, and we'll say this one is laugh. Let's go to laugh here. And we can use replace in this case, which actually is pretty cool. So we can go in here and say, just say 0 for replace. Hit my B key here. Let me increase my brush size. And I can remove the influence. See that right there? So it seems to be working pretty good for us right now, but if you do decide to use this, make sure you save as you go, because sometimes the painting blend shapes on earlier versions that aren't Service Pack 2, you can run into some problems. I have Service Pack 2 and it seems to be working okay, but just keep that in mind. So we can remove our blend shape information. We can remove it completely. Now we weren't able to go over this in class, but I did mention it, and I told you guys if you did use it, be careful. And it can, if you don't have Service Pack 2 installed, you could run into issues later on. So I'm just removing it, removing the influence there. Pretty cool, not too shabby. Again, replace is working like a charm. You can remove it a little bit here. And the nice thing about this, you can actually dumb down your expression so it doesn't have to be as strong. That's pretty much how you edit your membership when it comes to blend shapes. Notice when I'm painting, some weights are popping up. I'll paint it away and then I'll come back. See that? That's why it's a little bit of an imperfect tool. It gets a little confused for some reason. I'll paint and then you'll see like a white spot. See that right there? It just showed up. Paint, paint, paint. And sometimes it'll do that. You just got to be aware of that. It's not the perfect tool in the world. I prefer just using the control, but every once in a while this guy will work okay, and I might choose it every once in a while if I see it's not being stupid. It's being a little bit weird right now. Alright, so I'm going to show you one more thing, just as a review for those that can't remember how to do this. I'm going to do Control Z real quick though. Go back a few steps. There we go. Get our shapes back. There we go. Oh, he's singing. All right, so I'm going to go in here, grab this guy, and let me open up my blend shape under my animation editor's blend shape tool. We're going to link a simple movement of our controller to this guy here, and I'm going to show you one more step where you can actually add a cluster to a region on a character. So let's go and make a quick curve. I'm going to make a quick curve here. Let's move this down. There's our curve. I'm going to hit the W key, keep my finger on the V key, and snap them into place. And we'll just make them a little bit bigger here. And when you make these controllers outside of the blend shape controls here, which are native to this window, you want to make sure you have a camera that you can actually bookmark. And what that means is if I wanted to look at a group of expressions all the time, I can go in here and have my camera steady looking at all the faces and the controls at the same time. And I can just go to View, Bookmarks, Edit Bookmarks, and we'll call this Face Cam. And just hit Apply. Or just Enter in this case. Maya gives a little sarcastic thing here and says that doesn't have a space between it. Doesn't have an underscore, and it reminds you. Alright, so I have a controller here. And this controller, we're going to make one more, Control D. We're going to scale him down and put him in the middle. Now I have an older video on this, but the audio apparently is really low. So I'm making this guy here. Let's go and freeze his transforms, modify freeze transforms. Channel box. We'll call this expression. I don't care what it does. And this expression, we're going to go in here and move this around, and we're going to get a different result of his face. Let me show you how that works. We're going to do this through SDK. But before we do that, let's limit our movement on this particular object. Let me show you how that works here. So let's go to our attributes here, go under expression. We're going to limit our information. We're going to limit translate. Be careful because rotate pops up automatically. So I'm going to move my cursor here on my controller. I'm going to translate my X over there. And I'm going to minimize that. Then I'm going to move my controller over here. And I'm going to hit this arrow here to go to my max. And lock that down. So now my controller doesn't go any farther than that, which is pretty nice. And for my Y, I'll go and move this all the way up. And I will move my max over here, lock that down, and move this all the way down. Move this over here, and lock that down. And I can lock automatically the Z, because that way the Z, which is the blue cursor, will never be moved. Like it never can go anywhere. Alright, so the nice thing about that is when you move this, all your control belong to us. Your controls are locked into here. It doesn't go anywhere, which is nice. Alright, so let's go and zero that out. I'm going to hit 0, enter. All that's zeroed out. So now that we have that, now that we got that set up ready to go, let's go and connect our expressions to it. So we're going to go to animate. I'm really trying hard not to put you guys to sleep, so please stay with me. Don't go to the light. Let's go to our set trivia key. Don't die on me, man. And we're going to go, the driver is going to be the controller. He's going to be the one calling the shots. We're going to load driver. There we go. And we want him to be able to translate on Y, and we want him to translate on X. But for now, we're going to focus on Y, because on the top part, he can only do one at a time. Now, the driven is going to be this guy. But you can't select him in here. You can go through the options or the properties of the shape, and you can select it. But we're going to just use this. We're going to hit with the blend shape open, which is, again, underneath your Windows animation editors. And we're going to hit select. With it selected, we can now load it as the driven. There we go. Oh, looks like Maya's got a little bit of error. Interesting. Alright, so we're going to leave that alone for now. Hopefully it doesn't come back and bite us. Maybe because it was connected to a previous rig. I think that's probably what it was. Alright, so we're going to grab, let's say, Punk Laugh and Punk Shock. We'll do that for now. And we'll relate that to the translate Y. Excuse the gardeners in the background. No, I don't live in a mansion. This would be my apartment complex. It has nothing sacred for 3D, I swear. Should give him a talking to. So I'm going to grab this here, and I'm going to key it in its neutral position. You always want to key it in its neutral position. Bam. There we go. You'll see it turn pink. So when I move up, I'm going to say, let's make this his laugh. There he goes right there. And don't hit key here. You don't want to hit key. You're not animating. You're setting the key, driven key. You're not animating keys. You're setting the driven key. And you want to make sure you hit this. Don't hit that, because late at night I almost did that one time, which is kind of not good. So I'm going to hit key. Key this guy right here. And then maybe he goes, we'll have him do an expression down here. And when it's down, I'm going to move this guy up. Ooh, candy. Look how happy he is right there. And we're going to key that. Now behold what we have now. We have boom, look at that. And I can move this around. You can kind of mix it up. Hey, I thought maybe I would ask you out to eat. Sometimes I talk and I blink at the same time, and it's really weird. Pretty cool. See that? So we got that all set up. So that's how you can make a controller. I have a lot of free time. That's how you can make a controller connected to your blend shape. We have that all connected right in there, which is actually kind of nice. And I also showed you how you can isolate your blend shapes so that you're only affecting a particular region. And that's very important when you have a T-pose, because if you don't limit your area or your region of what you're affected with your blend shape, your character will go back to his T-pose and ignore the rig. So we just want it on the expression of his face or any other part that we desire. Now I'm going to show you one more thing you can add to a model. Also, when you bind the skin and so forth, you can go in here and you can add clusters. And I'm going to show you one more thing where you can actually also edit your model in just a second. But I can go in here and grab a group of vertices here. And I can go in here and create a deformer. I'm going to create a cluster. Now what the cluster does, it allows you to control a region. Unfortunately, when it comes in, it's very hard. So what we're going to do is edit that cluster. Go edit deformers. And you can also paint your cluster weights tool. So we'll double click on that tool. We'll set it to replace. And we'll make this guy a little bit less harsh by graying out around it. Get it a little bit more dropped off. So what happens now when you grab the cluster, these guys are little tricky boogers, and we're going to make a controller in a second. You'll notice it's a little bit more organic. See that right there? But you never want your animator to have to grab that, because that's a pain in the butt, and it's way too much trouble. I'm going to make a controller down here. Oh, dude, come on, seriously. And, oops. Where do you go? Control Z. Try that again. Controller. I'm going to keep my finger on the V key this time and snap him into place. He's so tiny. And I'm going to make him a little bit bigger. Hit the W key. Move this over. Hit the F key to fit it into view. And I'll make him big on purpose so you can see him a little bit better. Keep my finger on the J key. Rotate. And what do, kids? You freeze the transforms, Mr. Spitzer. That's right. You've been listening. You modify and you freeze your transforms. So with this, we will also now want to make sure our cluster is underneath it. So we do parent constraint. Parent first, then child. And we do constraint, parent constraint. So now we have control of this region using a cluster, which is actually kind of nice. But if you get double transform, if you watch my lattice video, if you get double transform, you want to grab that cluster and you want to check its breakdown here. And you can turn relative on or off depending on the type of results or problems you're running into. And you can have it so you don't have a double transform. Now in this case, I'm going to, for the hell of it, excuse me, heck, shouldn't say hell, that's a bad word. We're going to go in here and I'm going to go skeleton joint tool. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'll keep this really simple. It won't even be structurally correct. So what I have here, I have my joints. Let me zoom out a little bit and move him into place. He's way far away. Hit the F key on this guy. That's X-ray our joints. The reason why he's so big and my camera's kind of choking is because he's made for physical sun and sky due to the animated short I'm working on. Alright, so we got this bone set into place. And I'm going to grab my skin. I'm going to go to skin, bind smooth skin. And now he's bound. Now, if I move him around, he'll move with it, but my cluster is being left behind. So what we need to do is grab our controller and parent it underneath the bone, or in this case, you could even have another controller depending on your structure of your object. We'll just do the bone for now. A lot of times I'll parent it underneath the neck bone so when it rotates, the cluster goes with it, which is smart. So when I grab the bone now and I move it, you'll notice the cluster is getting double transformed. See that? This is the same thing I showed you in lattice. So what you need to do is grab your cluster, turn relative on, and parent him under the bone. So hopefully we won't get a same problem. If we do, we can fix it. So there we go. We move this around and we have cluster control. Yay! See that right there? So we fixed the same thing we did with our we did the same thing in the lattice video where we had that same issue. So that's how you can actually create a cluster to move your object around. Now if you're adding blend shapes after the fact, like you've already bound your skin, you want to add a blend shape, most of the time it should be okay. But if you do run into any problems, this is how you can fix it. You right click on your model and you go to your inputs and you go to all inputs. Now in 2012 this gets blank, gets a little weird, just keep that in mind. So what you can do is you can grab your blend shapes, middle mouse drag them before the tweak if you're adding them after the fact and they're giving you trouble. In other words, they're moving your whole model back to a default pose or position, and then you can move it underneath the tweak. And then from there you can start using your edit membership tool or your paint blend shape weights tool to fix any other issues that may occur. Alright, so I hope that helps you guys out. And how to look at blend shapes, clusters, and using lattices to get your initial look and feel. And lattices are the same thing as what I just did with the clusters, just a little bit more, just a couple more steps because you have lattice points to deal with instead of straight vertices. That's about it.